Whatever it is, coronavirus has made the mighty kneel and brought the world to a halt, like nothing else could. Our minds are still racing back and forth, longing for a return to normality, trying to stitch our future to our past and refusing to acknowledge the rupture. But the rupture exists. And in the midst of this terrible despair, it offers us a chance to rethink the doomsday machine we have built for ourselves. Nothing could be worse than a return to normality. Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or we can walk through lightly, with little luggage, ready to imagine another world. And ready to fight for it.
Welcome to the Social Good Summit at home. I want to thank you, the 400 people that registered to this event. We live in strange times and unfortunately we cannot be with each other. So we need to find different ways to connect and do as best as we can to really keep the movement going. We had to postpone our major event in September, and hence the idea of creating the Social Good Summit at home. Our mission is still very live and clear. We want to inspire people to take action for a better world. And we believe that no matter where you live, no matter where you work, no matter where you are, we can all make a difference. And that's the most important thing. So the Social Good Summit is this place where we bring the stories and bring the ideas. So you also can think, how can I make a better world in the place that I circulate and live, in my community, in my work, in my jobs, in my school, whatever you are. We are a UN endorsed organization as well, which means that we are on a mission to make the Sustainable Development Goals, or also called the SDGs or the Global Goals, very, very famous. And really think about the SDGs as a frame to make this world a better place. That's why we always ask the question, what type of world do you want to live in? And especially what type of world do you want to live in 2030, which is the time frame by which the Sustainable Development Goals are bound. Today we are going to hear from two very different organizations. Kathmandu, and by the hand of the CEO of Outdoors, Reuben, and a very different organization, Adopt Change, by the CEO, Renee Carter. Both organizations, while very different, they are making the world a better place in their own domain. And that's the story that we want to bring to you today. Now more than ever, we believe that it's time to create the world that we want to live in. So I hope that today is the day that we start that journey, or continue that journey even. I want to bring Jess Limbrick to do the acknowledgement of the country, and I hope that you enjoy tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I am so honoured to be here today at the Social Good Summit Australia, and how fitting before this event that we acknowledge country. Country to Indigenous people isn't just about the land. Country is more than a place, it is an inherent part of our identity. Our people refer to country like we speak about a person. It sustains our lives in every aspect, spiritually, physically, emotionally, culturally, and socially. I often describe that feeling of connection to country as when you walk outside, you go to the beach, you go to your favourite place in nature, and you feel like you're a part of the environment there. You feel that synergy. That's what country feels like to Indigenous people. And that is what it has felt like for us and for our ancestors for the last 60,000 years. Before I acknowledge country, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Jessica Limbrick. I'm a proud Wiradjuri woman. My family are from the places that we now call Hilland and Tambaroora in central New South Wales. Today, I am far away from home, on the land of the Bidjigal people in Sydney's south. I would like to acknowledge the Bidjigal people today as the traditional custodians of the land. And I would also like to acknowledge all of the traditional owners of the land that you are on. And how great it is that we are all connected by country today. Grasslands, desert, freshwater, saltwater country. And I encourage you to look up the traditional custodians of the land you're on and research their stories. I acknowledge the spirit and connection our elders have to country, and thank them for passing down that connection from generation to generation. I would like to acknowledge my other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander brothers and sisters on the call today, and also my non-Indigenous colleagues on this call. Thank you for inviting me to acknowledge country, but also thank you for listening. Reconciliation isn't just something for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people to be involved in. It is for all of us. I hope you are empowered to research more about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, learn our stories, and understand how you can get involved in the movement towards reconciliation.
Thank you, Jess. That was tremendously inspiring. I hope that the Social Good Summit is this little contribution to the reconciliation between the regional and non-Aboriginal communities in Australia. And I hope that all communities around the world can live and strive together and make together a better world. I would like to introduce you now to Reuben Casey. Reuben is the CEO of the outdoor division of Kathmandu. He's going to dial in from Christchurch, and Reuben has been in this position for more than 10 years. Kathmandu is a best practice organization in so many areas, and also in terms of sustainable practices for their own business. They operate in many elements, including well-being of their employees, including the responsible use of materials, and also a major impact on our environment. Reuben also told me that he's a qualified clarinet teacher, and he, besides playing the piano, organ, and many other instruments, he also belonged to a choir, and he's been a part of choirs for all his life. And he told me also that in order to cope with lockdown, he actually does a lot of choirs online to elevate his spirits and the spirits of everybody around him. So a big welcome to Reuben, and thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Kia ora koutou, tēnā koutou katoa from Aotearoa, New Zealand. It's a great pleasure to join you all on the Social Good Summit, and thank you very much for inviting me to speak. I'm going to talk about Kathmandu and our sustainability journey, where we are today, where we've come from, and how we think about sustainability and how that lines up with our overall company purpose or kaupapa. So, we started life back in 1987, and in the early 90s, we made our first pole fleece out of recycled plastic bottles. So Kathmandu and Patagonia were the first two brands in the world to actually do this. And that really set us on this path or this ethos of having more and more sustainable materials in our products and trying to do the right thing in operating our business. And by the time we got to 2011, we were a listed company, and we produced our first sustainability report. And as part of that process, we talked to our customers, to our shareholders, to our board of directors, and to our team, and asked them, what do you think is the most important thing we should be focusing on? And overwhelmingly, the number one thing they identified was human rights. So looking after the people who make our products. Secondly was materials in our products, so using more and more sustainable materials as we move along. And thirdly was our environmental impact. And after that came team, and then having a positive impact on our communities. So kind of 5 focus areas which we really framed up how we thought about sustainability. So over the next 6-7 years, we worked really hard on all those things, with a big focus on human rights, obviously, and materials in our products. And by the time we got to 2018, 2019, we were asking ourselves, do we really know what good looks like? Like, how do we know we're effective in looking after the people who are making our products? Because they are the most vulnerable human beings that we have in our operation. So in asking this question, it led us to become accredited with the Fair Labor Association, which is a not-for-profit out of the US. They partner with academics, with government, and with other companies. I think founded by Nike originally. A lot of sports brands and outdoor brands are part of that association. And to become accredited, you have to go through a stringent auditing process. So they came down to Christchurch and they looked at what we were doing in terms of how we were thinking about auditing and checking on our suppliers, what we did when we found things that we weren't happy with. Did we behave the right way as a responsible partner for those suppliers? Did we have the right sort of code of conduct set up? And did we have the right processes around, was it embedded in the organization, or was it just a box ticking exercise? So quite a stringent process, and we're really pleased to come through that and actually become a full accredited member of the Fair Labor Association. And on the materials front, with our products, by then we were ranked number 2 in the world by the Textile Exchange, which assesses our products using the Higg index. And so Patagonia was number 1 and we were number 2 in terms of the amount of sustainable materials that we used in our products and our commitment to that as well. So we've done some great work on both our first 2 key priorities. And in doing that work, we realized that we actually could qualify as a B Corp. So we took the plunge and became a B Corp in 2019. And being a B Corp means you have to think about your whole impact. So all the various touch points in your company. So obviously for Kathmandu, we have touch points with the people who make our product. We have touch points with our team. We have touch points with our customers. We have touch points with our shareholders. We have touch points in terms of the physical impact on the environment, how much electricity we consume, how much water we consume, how much waste we produce. And we have touch points in all the communities in which we operate. So the B in B Corp stands for benefit. So how do we be of benefit in all those touch points? How do we use our business as a force for good, as opposed to just solely focusing on growing shareholder wealth, which is a kind of the traditional model that businesses have worked with over many years. So quite a mindset shift within the organization. And then as we kind of became a B Corp, we were the largest B Corp in Australasia, a listed B Corp in Australasia, and the first kind of apparel company to do so. And for our team, that was a huge moment of pride for them and a real commitment to constant improvement. So both the B Corp certification and the Fair Labor Association accreditation, as you recertify and reaccredit, the requirements get ratchet up and up and up. So you have to be on this path of constant improvement and constant trying to do better and better. So it's a great way to commit yourself to making a difference and constantly improving. And as we kind of became a B Corp, we thought, right, how do we align up with the Sustainable Development Goals set by the UN? So things like health and well-being, things like decent work, things like climate change, things like looking after the land, and things like reducing inequality. So all of those things lined up nicely with the work we were doing. And we bucketed them into three kind of buckets. So people, planet, and practice. And in terms of people, obviously, it's about the people who make our products. It's about our teams. It's about our shareholders, and it's about the communities in which we operate. For planet, it's all about our environmental impact. So how do we reduce our electricity usage, water consumption, waste? And then for practice, for us, it's about becoming a leading B Corp. So rather than just meeting the minimum requirements to be a B Corp, which is still quite strenuous in itself, but how do we become over time a leading B Corp? And how do we think about moving to a more circular, regenerative model of operating? So how do we extend the life cycle of our products? How do we think about things like repair or resale of used products? And doing all that work to try and, over time, make more and more of a difference. And we also went through a process of resetting our purpose, or our kaupapa, as we say in Aotearoa. So our kaupapa has been reset to improve the well-being of the world through the outdoors. But we know that people are better off when you spend regular time outside. Research has shown that we are more empathetic, we're more creative, we're less stressed, and through spending time, regular time outside. And we've got two amazing countries to do that in, New Zealand and Australian landscapes, are incredible places to be. And I'm sure anyone who's gone through lockdown in the last 12 to 18 months will realize the kind of the heightened appreciation we all have for that. And so we're on a mission to try and encourage as many people as we can to spend time outside. So our customers, we want to encourage our customers to spend time outside because we know the benefits that they're going to get from it. Similarly, with our team, we want to encourage our team to spend time outside. And to fulfill our purpose of improving the well-being of the world, we think about all those touch points again as a B Corp. So you can see how it kind of lines up. So all those, how do we improve the well-being of our team? How do we improve the well-being of our customers? How do we improve the well-being of the people who make our products? How do we improve the well-being of our shareholders? And how do we improve the well-being of the physical environment in which we operate through minimizing our impact? And how do we improve the well-being of the communities in which we operate in? And so as we go through this process and keep journeying on trying to get better and better, we hope that we make a positive impact. We use our business as a force for good and create that ripple effect of positivity through customers, through shareholders, through team members, and through our suppliers, and through competitors by inspiring them to do better. So that is a summary of what we're doing at Kathmandu and how we're trying to use our business as a force for good. Thank you.
Like so many others out there, it's been quite a journey for Heart and Soul Story over the past couple of years. We'd been running face-to-face intergenerational connection programs in aged care and had to turn things around pretty quickly when COVID hit. Luckily, working with fantastic school and aged care partners, we've been able to do this, and our Seniors and Teens Empathy program has been running virtually since mid-2020. No, it's not been easy, but the laughs and joyful moments along the way have made the journey worth it. Thanks to all of those at the Social Good Summit for inspiring us yearly to keep at our mission of bringing community back together.
Thank you, the Heart and Soul team, Samantha, Heron, and for submitting your video. It's very encouraging to know that during these very difficult times, you look at the Social Good Summit as a source of inspiration to continue your work. The work that you do is truly meaningful for so many people, and COVID cannot stop that at all. So lots of courage and keep going with the great work. Now I'd like to introduce you to our next speaker, Renee Carter. Renee Carter is dialing us from Sydney, and she's the CEO of Adopt Change, which is also the organization that runs the program Forever Family in New South Wales. Adopt Change believes that every child has the right to grow up in a safe, nurturing, and permanent family home. Renee is passionate about advocating for the well-being of children and young people, and you are going to feel and see that very shortly. Her life somehow have a turn because she actually starts her uni days as a visual communications designer, but then somehow end up becoming the CEO of this organization. She told me that the way she coped with lockdown is by doing a lot of cook-ups, even after dinner, to cope with late nights and cope with the fact that we are still in lockdown. I think that we somehow became good cooks during this COVID situation. A big welcome to you, Renee, and thank you so much for speaking to us today.
I think home for me is not a place. I think home for me is a feeling.
Is somewhere safe, one that provides nurture and nourishment at all ages.
The warmth of knowing that you're in a comfortable place with the people that you love.
The security of having that unconditional love is something that you don't get anywhere else.
And that same person's going to be there for them every day.
Being able to be yourself and not being afraid that any of that is going to be taken away. And that's what every child should have.
I'm Renee Carter, CEO at Adopt Change. I'm going to tell you what we're about, why we do what we do. Let's start by looking at some numbers. We've been hearing numbers daily, numbers of COVID cases. I have some others for you. 45,000, the number of children in Australia living in state care who could fill a stadium. The children in the child protection system have often experienced neglect or abuse and are moved from their family home for their safety and placed in government care, usually foster or kinship care. The preference is to return children home safely if possible, and if not, they typically spend the rest of their childhood in the system. There is a recognition that permanency, stability is important for children, and that impermanency is damaging. However, in Australia, by contrast to the football stadium-sized numbers of kids in statutory care, there were only 334 adoptions last year and 1,100 guardianship arrangements, which end at age 18. Some children in the care system have not been provided with a home. Some have been moved 10 times. A third of the young people exiting state care at age 18 become homeless. But this isn't just about the numbers. There are kids behind these numbers. Let me introduce you to some of them from around Australia. Benji is 9. It's been 4 years since he last lived with his dad, brother, and sister. He doesn't remember everything, but remembers that sometimes his stomach hurt from hunger, that there were days where he, his brother, and his sister were left alone for days at a time. He misses them and his favourite truck. It was left at home when the caseworker picked him up late one night, put some of his clothes in a garbage bag and took him to a stranger's house. He can't really remember that first home, except that the smell of the house was different to his and that there was a friendly cat. He remembers being in the caseworker's car as she drove him to another house and then another, each time explaining that she was hoping to know soon what was happening next. Would he go home to his dad or to which family he would live with next? He remembers being confused and trying not to cry. It's not uncommon to be a child who has experienced abuse and neglect to then be taken into the care system with the intention of being provided a safe and stable home and instead being moved from house to house. I met a young woman in Queensland who moved 38 times, and Aidan, a young man from Victoria who moved 70 times while in care. Emily, who was in the care system from age 9 in New South Wales, has since experienced homelessness 7 times. The longest she ever lived in one place is a year. Imagine that. Or there's Daniel, who was separated from his identical twin when they went into care. He was told that it was too hard to find a home for siblings, only to find each other again years later when they were coincidentally placed in the same group home. And the young woman in Victoria who turned 18 3 weeks before her HSC and was kicked out of home because she had aged out of care. At what point do we say this is a crisis that needs addressing? If we want to reduce the instances of people experiencing homelessness, spending time in prison, not completing their education, or finding employment, if we want to improve mental, physical, and relational health, we can create positive change in all of these issues by focusing on just one area. Every child needs a safe, nurturing, and stable family home. They need to know and feel that they belong, that they have someone in their corner, and to know where they're going to sleep tonight. So what does it look like when it works? For the kids that are provided a family home for life when they are unable to live with birth family for whatever reason. Amy has been living with her adoptive family since she was 4. Removed from her family at age 3, she lived in 2 homes before settling in with her adoptive parents. She was in foster care with them to start with. Then after a few years, her parents were able to adopt her. She still sees her first mum once a month and they sometimes talk on FaceTime. She knows she is loved by 2 families. Zufi was born in Ethiopia and adopted by Australian parents. Now in her early 20s and studying acting, Zufi speaks about her life growing up with 2 younger brothers and her positive experiences feeling loved and cared for throughout her childhood and with her family for life. Brad went into care at 16 months old. He lived with the same family his whole childhood. but he was unable to be adopted during his childhood due to legislation and complicating factors. So for his 18th birthday, he chose to sign his own adoption papers. Brad now advocates for more children to find the loving stability that he has, and also for the adoption processes to be more child-focused and timely. So what needs to happen? It can be overwhelming to think of all the things wrong with the world, so it can be helpful to pick one thing that becomes our thing. What about ensuring that there is a home for every child that is safe, caring, and stable? Adopt Change is about exactly this. Every child needs a home, they need a family, and they need supports around them at home, at school, and in their community so that they can thrive. We support children and families with resources, programs, support staff. We run campaigns to find new care and adoptive family homes. We train and support existing care homes, and we work with government, media, and community to raise awareness of the needs of children for permanency and supports. We're about connecting children with families and those families with supports to thrive. Everyone can do something. Harry is 8. He loves Minecraft, reading, Lego, and climbing trees. But he can't live safely with his family, and he urgently needs someone to care for him in their home, preferably near his school and siblings. We need to find a home for Harry. While his name has been changed for privacy, he is one of the children who is currently in need of a home. So what could you do? You could open your home and your heart to Harry or kids like him through foster care or adoption. You may not be in a position to open your home, but perhaps you could make a homemade blanket that goes into a first night backpack for a child entering care, often with nothing but the clothes they are wearing. You could volunteer your time and skills. Are you a social media guru by day looking to apply your skills to a cause? You could get involved to raise awareness of the need for homes. You could run a fundraiser. You could pack backpacks, provide event assistance. The list goes on. You could support organisations such as Adopt Change who facilitate this, whether you're an individual donating a few dollars or a company who can sponsor an event or program. Funds are essential to ensuring that the work can be done. I'll leave you with this question. What kind of a world do you want to be part of? I want to be part of a world where every child knows where they're going to be sleeping tomorrow and the next day, next week and next year. To know that every day they have food available to them, that they have a family in their corner, there for them no matter what, to hug them, reassure them, laugh and cry with them, to support them to play, learn, grow and thrive. A world where there is a home for every child.
TikTok has become a worldwide sensation. It's also where young girls look for their role models. But we think there are some cooler role models out there.
I'm here to stand up for their rights, to raise their voice.
Y estamos dispuestas, decididas a cambiar el mundo.
But then I found a reason to speak.
Be more, be better, be bigger than you've ever been before.
That's why on International Girls' Day, we decided to echo the words of these women in the voices of young girls.
I have to say I can do that, and I should be allowed to do that.
Introducing She Speaks. We gathered sound bites from speeches, interviews and talks by well-known women.
That a new day is on the horizon.
And uploaded them to TikTok so girls could dub them.
Education was central to every last one of those efforts.
To express herself to the full, including through art and ideas.
That you are valuable and powerful. Cuando las mujeres tienen acceso a una buena educación, el crecimiento y la estabilidad nacional son mejores.
I'm not a lone voice. I am many.
More than 500,000 girls in 12 countries dubbed the words of some of the most influential women in history.
We're a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president.
60 million people in just 4 days. 18 million impressions. A national trend topic.
Y este domingo se celebra el Día Internacional de la Niña. Por eso nace la campaña numeral Ellas Hablan.
5 NGOs that fight for the empowerment of young girls joined the campaign. Even the first woman vice president of Colombia joined in the movement and donated her voice.
Mañana tendremos a nuestras niñas presidentas.
She Speaks has turned into an ongoing platform where the most influential women in history today will keep inspiring a new generation of women tomorrow.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
I'm speaking because I can. I'm speaking because I want to be here.
She Speaks. Pony Malta.
Thank you very much to Reuben and Renee for joining us for our very first Social Good Summit at home, especially being so kind and giving us more than once the opportunity to talk to all of us. Next, we will have more online at-home sessions. Please stay tuned and we will inform you about it. Further, the very good news from tonight is we will have an in-person event in March 2022. We are just about to finalize all the last bits and bobs, but as soon as we know that, we will inform you. Please stay tuned for that one as well. As you may all know, the Social Good Summit Australia is run solely by volunteers. All of us here are doing this besides our families, our work commitments, and everything else. Katja and myself, we are every time so inspired and impressed how people randomly come along and join us on this path. It makes us really, really special, and we thank them to help us so much with what we do. Also, a big thank you and shout out for Stephen and Phil, who did the beautiful illustrations tonight. As always, thanks for being part of the Social Good Summit Australia family. To all of you, thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for your generous donations. We decided that the 3 charities that we have introduced tonight, the Run for Good project of the Adopt for Change, and Hearts and Soul, will get equal amount of the money donated. I would like to send you off tonight with the story of Rene. Rene came to our summit in 2019 here in Sydney and was so inspired that she wanted to be the change maker that she always tried to be. She started her own charity, the Run for Good project. The Run for Good project helps people in need to transform houses into homes. She salvages furniture from landfill. Over the last 12 months, she managed to help people in need from more than 200 homes. Further, she saved 72 tons of furniture that will go into landfill to help other people to create the most beautiful homes she could do. Stories like the one from Rene keeps us going here at the Social Good Summit. Because of stories like that, we do what we do here. I would love to tell another story next time we catch up, because I hope we manage to inspire you and make you the change maker that you would like to be. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.
Thank you, and get vaccinated.
After attending the Social Good Summit in 2019, I started the Run for Good project to find ways to mobilise our community and support people who need a helping hand. We ran projects to create homes, put shoes on people's feet, give them access to technology and food in their fridges. Before I knew it, we'd evolved into a charity that rescues furniture and gives it directly to people in need. Everything they need to make a house a home. In 12 months, we furnished over 200 homes and prevented 72 tonnes of furniture going to landfill. No cost, no red tape and no delay. Good for people and good for our planet. So thank you to the Social Good Summit for inspiring me to run with an idea and do my part to create change. Join in, take action and be the change you want to see.